Okay, so says tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, my name is Joe Newland. I'm not originally from New York City, from the Midwest. Grew up in Indiana and Ohio. Um, my life has been a trip. It's been a roller coaster ride, that's for sure. For a long time, I really didn't want to be on the ride. Be honest with you. Or I guess I should say I just didn't see the ride going the way it did. There were a lot more twists, turns, tunnels, loop-de-loops than I had ever imagined there would be as a kid. But that's life, I guess, and you have to make of it what you will. You can either focus on the bad or focus on the positive. I like to be as upbeat as possible and focus on the good things, though that's not always been the case. I try. I still do and will continue to, but maybe it's just me. There were periods of my life where I focused on the bad stuff and let that consume me. And it's taken me down some very different roads, different avenues. I guess I'm just like everybody else, I'm a student of life, and I'm excited to continue to learn, and I will never stop. So it says, tell us a little bit about how you have been in and out of homelessness. Okay, well, that's a fun one. So over the last couple of years, I've been in and out of homelessness. I'm going to skip to just basically being here in New York. If you want to know more about the past, we can go there, but I think this is more directed towards the coronavirus. So let's see here. I came to New York City late December to pursue the vision that I had for the new vision that I had for my life, which was to be on a stage, to overcome a lot of the fears that I once had of standing in front of people, talking, and I thought acting would be the best way to do that. So I came here to do that. If you're going to do something, you want to go to where there's a lot more opportunity and the best of the best are. So it's like growing up, there's a lot of things that I pursued to be the best at, and when I did want to be the best, I sought out the best. And when you learn from somebody who is the best, you become really good, so always trying to give 100% in everything that I do. I think that should be the goal for everybody. But let's see, I came to New York City with my GMC Envoy, and for the first 3 months I slept in the back of that bad boy. And so this is December 27th, I think. I came here. I had a role as an extra in a movie, my very first anything on film. Super cool, super exciting, learned a lot, and realized this is totally what I want to do right now. I want the camera on me, but and I had the camera on me, I guess, but it wasn't, I wasn't a lead role. I didn't even speak. I sat there and pretended to eat food, but they told me I was supposed to pretend. I actually ate the food. I don't know. Let's see. Still working on this, the timeline thing. So for 3 months, I slept in the back of my Envoy. With prior homelessness, I had learned a lot of, you can call it tricks of the trade, different avenues, different programs, and such that provide for homeless people. Very informative, very good information to have, and as often as I can possibly pass that information on, I do. Everybody will always be provided for. If somebody's going without food, there's more to it than them just not. I mean, there's food everywhere. No matter where you go, God will provide for you. You just got to put a little bit of effort in. And if anybody's been homeless for years and they still can't find food, there's a really good reason for it, because it didn't take a whole lot of time. I'm going to start this whole thing over, I swear. You know what? No, I'm going to keep going with it. Because I keep getting off track, and I apologize. But you're the editor, so hopefully you can figure this out. Let's see here. So 3 months in, I had a couple acting gigs, a couple roles as extras, and during all this time, I'm sleeping in the back of my Envoy. I did have a gym membership at Planet Fitness, and I was taking my showers there. And I even washed my clothes in the Planet Fitness shower and hung them in the back of my Envoy to dry at one point, because I was getting desperate. Thankful I have friends back home that also helped me with some money. I started a little fundraiser. They helped me out there, so I was able to buy some food. But I ended up taking a stage management position for a play for a gentleman named Rick Mueller, an excellent writer, excellent author, and he had a friend moving out of an apartment as I was beginning my job with him, and he ended up getting me into this apartment that his friend moved out of. Very lucky. Got hooked it up there for sure. Perfect timing. But for a month I stayed with this guy, and during that month I decided to really focus inward, in on myself and who I was, what I was trying to accomplish, what I loved. And I mean, that's been the case truthfully for the last couple of years now. Like, I really I'm so tired of doing things that I don't like to do. Things that I wake up and kind of dread having to be in that day. A lot of it was physical labor. I'm strong, but I like to use this, and God has blessed me with a lot of eye-opening experience, revelations over the last 2 years, to where I can see more clearly what my path in life is. And so for a month, I did a few things that I'd never done before. One, I meditated every single day. I started really focusing on my prayer life and talking to God on a more regular basis. My relationship with Him was way bad. Let's just say that before this whole, I'm going to call it the process, started a couple years ago, where I ended up homeless, and I had to work through a lot of issues. I'll say my spirit was super dirty. My soul was not clean, and God works all things good for those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And I believe that, without a doubt in my mind, I believe this is that He was working some stuff out of me, and I'm very thankful that He did, because it's changed me tremendously in the type of person I am, the way I approach situations, handle people, the way I think. I can just say I know I wasn't a big fan of people, period. But it was because I wasn't a fan of myself, and He's really helped me to find love for me, which is crucial when you're trying to love somebody else. If you don't love you, then how could you possibly love anybody else? You really have to figure that out, and thank God for God showing me these things. So let's see. For a month, I was focusing on prayer, meditation, and just developing spiritually on things that I had never really looked into. Boy, I can tell you, I picked up my Bible a lot in that last month. But something else I did was I realized I started thinking about my life and how blessed I am, despite all the hardships and the trials and the tribulations. Because the trials and tribulations, through all of that, has given me a new hope and has developed my character, I think, for the better. But I started writing. Something was like, start writing, just start writing. And so I did, and I wrote more in that month than I have ever written in my entire life. Although I've written for a long, long time, it's never been that consistent. I wrote every single day for a month straight, and trying to write my life story, because I want other people to realize, there's light at the end of that tunnel. There's going to be better days. You might be going through some hard stuff right now, and a lot of it I realized was it was because of the things that I was doing. So there's a way out. There's definitely a way out, and finding your focus, finding what you love to do. It says God is love. Look for that. Ask Him to reveal to you your heart's desires. I'm going to go back just a little bit. I was homeless at this time, but last summer I ended up accidentally ending up on a stage in Northern California where I auditioned for a movie that I never planned on being at this audition. It was a wild series of events that led to this eye-opening experience, this vision for the rest of my life. Like, I realized when I got on that stage to audition for this movie, and if you want details on that, what an incredible experience that was. I got up there and realized, wow, this is awesome. And I knew that it wasn't of my own doing. It was definitely a spirit-led happening, and it was awesome. That's what set this whole thing in motion. I had to pause it for a minute to kind of reflect, but it says how. Let me try to answer some of these questions that you've given me. I get off on these rants where I get so excited about what is happening now in my life, and I get even more excited looking at what has brought me to this point, because everything in life happens for a reason. And when we start realizing that, it makes everything a lot easier. When something doesn't go your way, it's because it wasn't supposed to go your way, and something else better is coming. But a lot of times, when something doesn't go our way, which is how I used to deal with things, is, man, I get so frustrated. Anger, and now it's an understanding. It's like it's a piece of knowing that, okay, well, this didn't work out. Maybe it'll work out later down the road. Who knows? But I'm not going to be angry about it, because there's a reason behind it, and I can either react negatively or I can react positively. And I try so much more now to do the positive thing, although I'm not perfect and I still fall into those times where you're like, dang it, man, like, why is this happening? I'm trying to do everything I can to do the right thing. And let me come back to getting kicked out of this apartment. I thought I was doing everything okay, and I had not had any issues with this guy. Although I hadn't paid him any money, I had stayed there for a month. Of course, coronavirus hit. I had just started working at a restaurant, and I had planned on working there a little bit more on a regular basis, which would have been no problem paying this guy's rent. And COVID-19 hit, and bam, next thing I know, my buddy who owned the restaurant shut it down and was not serving, and I had no income. So for a month I stayed with this guy. Everything was good. We had very nice guy, I don't hold anything against him. I wasn't very happy when I came home at 8 o'clock at night and he told me, hey, I don't feel comfortable with you staying here anymore. I'm a 70-year-old man. I don't know who you hang out with or what you're doing. Mind you, I wasn't doing anything bad. I would get up. I'd get my exercise in. I like to run. That's a natural endorphin release. Kind of uplifts your spirit. It makes you feel accomplished. Getting a little exercise here and there. You don't have to go hard into it, but doing a little bit makes you feel really good about yourself. So that's one thing that I do to stay positive is exercise, and I used to do it all the time. I used to push all the way in on that, and I would always overexert myself and eventually break myself down to a point where I'm like, I don't want to do this at all anymore. Now I'm trying to find that balance. Balance is key for sure with all things that you do, and me myself, I love variety, so I try to sing a song, learn something new, read a book, do some writing, draw a little picture, doodle, catch up on my politics or world current events, and just something different. So I came home, the guy, I don't feel comfortable with you staying here anymore. You've been here a month. You haven't paid me any rent money. And he said, quite frankly, he's like, I don't know who you're hanging out with. He said, you could be out there. You could have the virus right now. And, I don't want to get it. And this was one of those times where I could have probably reacted a little better. Okay. And I think we should always pursue, and I try to always, kind of judge myself in those situations like, hey, what could I have done better? I could have reacted better, but you know what? I reacted better than I used to react. So progress, right? Everything's got to be progress. And don't think that it was like a terrible thing, but I wasn't happy. Who's going to be happy about getting kicked out? I had just got all my stuff moved in. I was buying pictures and putting them on the wall, and I was writing. I was so excited. I was like, man, I'm going to get this book done. I've always wanted to write a book, but I never really sat down and really tried to do it. But this was like, this 3 or 4 weeks was like, my God, I can do this. I realized I can do anything that I set my mind to, and I'll be darned if I don't have that book pretty much done. It's just a matter of putting it all together. But I learned a lot about myself during just that 1 month of living in that apartment. First off, you find coming from homelessness into living somewhere to becoming homelessness to living somewhere that you appreciate things a lot more. A dresser? Oh my gosh. How much we take for granted being able to fold our clothes up and stick them in drawers. Now, mind you, in this month where I moved in, and I had to carry my stuff all the way to the far side of Brooklyn from Queens, and then not Brooklyn, Manhattan, and then back again to my vehicle, stick it in my vehicle, slept there for a couple days, got into another shelter, and then I had to pack everything back up, get on a subway, get on the train. You get people looking at you, and you kind of feel a little like, man, I'm constantly doing something. I'm tired. I just want to lay down. I want to sleep in a bed. I don't want to sleep in the back of my vehicle anymore. It's tiring. But through all of that experience, I found that it's a spirit builder. It's not just, you have to appreciate at the same time where you're appreciate the frustration, because not everything in life is easy. You have to overcome obstacles. There are going to be trials. There's going to be days where you just don't understand, and that's okay. You have to realize that it's okay not to understand. Trying to understand everything is what used to really mess me up. I was like, man, why don't I get this? Why can't I understand this? But understanding that you don't have to understand everything, it's a beautiful thing, and it creates a peace inside of you. So, what am I doing to make my situation better? I wake up every day before my feet hit the floor, and I give thanks that I'm alive. That right there, starting your day, just being appreciative of the life that you have, despite what happens that day, I think is a very big thing for anybody, and should be practiced by everybody. Because, tell you right now, 10 minutes from now isn't promised. 1 minute from now isn't promised. Tomorrow definitely isn't promised. Worrying about anything is unnecessary, and but it is going to happen. Worrying about what's going to happen today. How can you do what needs to be done today to the best of your ability, and not worry about tomorrow and leave yesterday where it was? It's a big thing for me. I used to constantly, like, what am I going to do tomorrow, when I wasn't even focused on today. What am I going to do next week? How's this going to work out? How's that going to work out? You know what? It's either going to work out or it's not going to work out. So there's no sense in worrying about it. Do what you can in this day, the day that you are in right now, the moment that you're in right now is what is important. And we always want to, like, time travel ahead and go, 5 years from now, this and that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to make plans, but to sit there and worry about, like, how's this going to work? You got to do what you can in this moment, and that's what I'm working on right now to make my situation better. What's put in front of me, let me do it to the best of my ability. If I have nothing to do that day, I will do something that will benefit my mind or my body, rather than the detrimental stuff that I used to partake in, which was I'll just leave that alone for now. God rescued me from a lot of things, and I'm very appreciative of that. So, some advice or encouragement that I would give people that are depressed or down because they lost their job or their business is going out of business. Stay in faith. Faith is key. Just give it. When you might not be religious, it is what it is. I, without a doubt, know that there's a higher power. I got a really cool story behind that if you ever want to hear it. And there's without a doubt a God. And if you constantly rely on yourself, then you're making yourself your own God, and you're gonna fall short of so many things. But when you start realizing, like, there's a higher power, there's a bigger purpose, there's somebody who knows everything, and when you start realizing that, that's where that peace comes. You just give it to Him, like, or her, this is out of my control. I can't do anything about it. Can you please help me out? I know a lot of people probably don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. And this is coming from somebody who has literally lived under bridges. I've made tarp houses where I camoed them with grass that I was living in a field. Just don't give up. Keep pushing, and something will work out. If you put in enough effort in anything, and you keep a good attitude, you don't fall into the things that will no doubt or undoubtedly hold you back, drugs, alcohol, pursuing the bad things in life that when you're doing them, you're like, I don't know if I should do this, or it's something that you need to evaluate and say, hey, I don't have to do this. My focus is here. This is what's benefiting me. Say, you're depressed. Getting drunk isn't going to make you happy. It's a fleeting feeling that's only there for a minute, and it's gone. And then now you're out of money. You're even sadder than when you started. You've done something you regret. It's created more problems. So staying sober, staying vigilant is key. keeping motivated, pursuing righteousness, the good things. No, boy, there's this video could go on and on and on. I've been talking for 25 minutes. Hopefully you can get some good stuff out of this. Let's see. I think one of these questions that I didn't touch on was, it says talk about what being in and out of homelessness has been like for me emotionally. Well, when I first started, it was a terrible feeling. I had let myself down. I never in my life growing up did I say, you know what I want to be when I'm older is homeless. That's never crossed my mind. As a matter of fact, the exact opposite always did. It's like, I'm going to be successful. But I never took the steps to be successful. I didn't realize I was taking steps to become homeless. And it's a matter of doing the right thing versus doing the wrong thing. When you are constantly doing the wrong thing, you know you're doing the wrong thing, but you continue to do it, thinking there's going to be a different result. First off, the definition of that is that word is insanity. And I didn't realize, like, for a long time, I basically was insane. And a lot of people are without them even realizing it. Like, let's go to the bar. Let's go get drunk. Let's find women to do whatever with, you know. It's like you can't keep doing that and expecting a different result. You can't expect that depression to go away when you keep doing the exact same thing. So you have to change something. It's like you're walking down a road and you fall into a hole. Somebody comes and helps you out of that hole, and the next day you walk down the same road and you fall into that hole again. You're like, crap, I fell in this hole yesterday. How'd this happen? And then somebody comes and helps you out. Walk down the same road the next day. Boom, you fall in the hole again. You're like, what the heck, man? 3 days in a row? Eventually, you're going to want to find a different way of going where you want to go. So you want to take a different road. And I took that same road for a long time, which led to me eventually becoming homeless. And I realized, like, man, I got to take a different road. And during all of that, I came out a lot stronger. After all of that, I came out a lot stronger. It's all a process, and the process is it's going to continue until the day that I move on into the next life. And so in the beginning, it was very tough. I realized all of my mistakes. I had to really look at myself and think, like, what brought me to this point? How did I get here when I had all of these goals growing up? I ended up the complete opposite of what I felt I was going to end up at. And you really have to do some soul searching and find out what's important in life and what's not, and let go of the stuff that's not important and start focusing on the stuff that is, the stuff that builds you and not breaks you down. So it's been a process, that's for sure. Years. Some of us have a lot more pride than others, and I think I might have had more than most, that's for sure. I've got one hard head on these shoulders, and I used to have a very hard heart too. And all praise and glory to God for helping me change my ways and giving me a better idea of who I am and what's important in life and what I want to do and how I want to leave this world behind. When I do go, I want to leave it a better place, not a worse place. And the route I was taking, I was doing the exact opposite of what I had always hoped for in my heart. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I can see it. It's just positivity. You got to stay positive. It's so hard sometimes, especially when you just nothing goes your way. It seems like, but you got to. Again, look inside and realize what's important and what's not. And anything is possible. So I pause it every now and then. I figure you're going to be able to edit this pretty well. I mean, you might have to teach me that someday, because I've been trying to edit some videos and I am not good at it. But one thing is, I used to look at people and I would judge them and I'd say, man, they're just, gosh, that's not the way I want to do things. Well, I would basically do exactly what they did, and it was frustrating because I knew what I wanted, but I would never do it. And to really get ahead in what you want out of life, you have to be the change that you want to see in the world. So if you want the world a better place, start doing better things. I didn't do that. I wanted the world to be a better place, but I was out doing all sorts of nonsense. And now it's like I realize the world we're born into kind of twists and warps our childlike minds. When we come in here, we don't go, I'm gonna do this and that and this and that. It's you come in free and you absorb everything, and what is around you is what you become. Who you surround yourself is who you become. So be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. If you want people to be kind to you, be kind to others. If you want people to listen to what you have to say, listen to others. If you need something, give something. If you want love, give love. Find out the meaning of it. My favorite chapter ever in any book is going to be 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the chapter on love. Beautiful, beautiful. I try to apply it to all that I do. I try to be patient. I try to be kind. I try to hope always. There's a lot to love. There's so many definitions, but I believe everybody in their heart wants love in life, and to want love and to not give it, it's completely contradicting. So you gotta really focus on what the meaning of that word is, and do your best to understand it and pursue it with everything you have. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous, boastful, proud, or rude. It is not irritable, it keeps no record of being wrong, it does not demand its own way, it does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through all circumstances. I used to repeat that daily. And you become what you constantly think about. So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, believe that you're going to attract negative things in your life. When you constantly think about love will abound, and things will start working out.